Hello again. Welcome to the Realm of Ideas is Free to All. This is a preview for episode 60, The Beauty and Necessity of Original Ideas. And, you know, why we need them now. Anyway, so this is a preview of this upcoming for Sunday. So let me start with when I thought about this, because this is one of the kind of more important kind of pieces we do. I thought I really wanted to have like a foundational or fundamental kind of idea. So I kind of went back to a few books this week looking for it, and I kind of like might change it, but let's just keep this for now. So again, I talk about this all the time. My very heavily kind of butchered, kind of annotated copy of Whitehead's Adventures of Ideas. So again, reading from a part that I've read before, but different sections in part 4, Civilization, section 18, Truth and Beauty. I'll say just this, which is one of the most important things. And we'll talk about that briefly, and then we'll kind of talk about more of this on Sunday morning. But basically, he said simply in these 5 words: truth matters because of beauty. And I think this is related to something he says in Aims of Education, but I kind of think that it's important the way in which I see it. Now, again, I'm not saying that I understand what Whitehead's true meaning was, and I'm not saying that I basically understood and advanced the ideas of Whitehead. I'm not going to say something
Hello.
like that. IP. Anyway, so the point is, I can't. We've talked about truth, beauty, and love, and I kind of think that over the course of that time to now, yes, I've kind of, I think, solidified some of these things. And love is that which is the connectedness. And we talked about that in relationship to Ortega. And I think it's the connectedness, and it basically expresses itself through beauty and through truth. Now, one of the things that I always felt was my aim was basically to kind of be able to find this very elusive idea of truth. And when I met Julie, I think I came to understand that there was something that was more important, or as much as important, and I come to kind of see it differently, and I see it as more. And on the top of our whiteboard, it's like we live together in pursuit of that which we believe constitutes beauty. I came to understand that beauty is more important than truth because it's actually the foundation, as it says. And I'll read it again so you can think about this. Truth matters because of beauty. The way I've interpreted that is the fact that the love, which is the connectedness of things, expresses itself through 2 things: beauty and truth. These are 2 expressions of the interconnectedness of things. Beauty is that impression before it's understandable. It's that sense that this is worthy of pursuit. It's worthy of understanding. And before you commit your understanding to it, you have to have a desire through that. So, in fact, love becomes that piece that basically you pursue as a result of it. So, we'll go more into that detail. But basically, so the title and subtitle is Why We Need Them Now. Original ideas are foundational, fundamental, and their consequence, their potential for beauty, is why we need to pursue them. That's my brief introduction. Well, more than not so brief introduction. Anyway, my loved one, P.
Yes. Um, I think at this particular point in time, especially now when I think most people are feeling enormous amounts of stress from moment to moment, hour to hour, we have never needed beautiful ideas as much as we do at this moment in time. It's not just a panacea, which it is. It's not just a bomb. It is far more than temporary. When you can find something which inhabits your mind far more than the anger, the indignance, the stresses, the terror, the fear. I mean, you know, a lot of the emotions that we're all living with now. I find that the fascination of beautiful ideas is my savior. It is literally what keeps me going. It's what gets me out of bed in the morning. I don't want to speak for you, but it may do the same. When you can fixate on something so phenomenal, so unexpected, and that is a piece of information that might seem incredibly improbable, but I'll quote Arthur Conan Doyle, as I want to do, as I love to do.
As he often quoted you.
As he, that's a good one. It might be the case, right? I do a lot of time travel. You should all know that.
As does he.
As does
to be
he.
fair.
So we actually meet somewhere in the middle.
Sometimes you cross paths.
And we cross paths. We often cross paths in the 1920s because we both love Art Nouveau architecture and design and books. And anyway, so the idea is when you take away everything, what remains as improbable as it is must be the truth. I'm just paraphrasing because I don't have the books on the shelf, but I mean, even if it seems highly unlikely, also it can recast the familiar in really luscious shades of speculation. And that is the point about a beautiful idea, is it ignites speculation, and that is the key thing. Now, with kind of very ready-made information, and I will say much of the information in quotes is not in fact information at all. I know everyone blasts social media, but there is something deeply and profoundly upsetting about an awful lot of people, not in the thousands, in the millions, who think they're getting actual information, when in fact what they're getting is hearsay, is anecdote, and more commonly agenda. They just don't realize they're being fed someone else's agenda, another group's agenda. True information, like scientific information where you can read the original source, is key. Would you like to?
Yeah. All right. So, basically, no. I
Sorry.
think that you're saying a very important thing.
That's
It's not a
right.
palliative. It's not a
No.
distraction. The way I would say it is, it's not a distraction from life. It is the foundation of life. So original ideas, beauty, truth, love, these own, and in fact, the reason why we end up in this drama of the rabble is because we've lost the purposefulness of original ideas, beauty, truth, and love. It's easier to get someone to fight for something worthless if they don't know what worth is.
Good point.
So the reality is
They're
these
easily
things,
manipulated.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's hard to
Yeah.
get a person to kind of move away from the cello when they're playing a magnificent piece and they're kind of, completely connected to it.
Yeah.
When someone says, we have to go and attack, it's like, I'm playing Elgar.
Or Bach. Or,
Right.
yeah.
But I'm saying I'm playing,
absolutely.
it's like,
yeah.
So the reality is that's why the rabble always attacks genius. Genius is always that which is most despised because it's the thing that actually gives life purpose. And when you have that, you realize, why would I care about these other insignificant things? Keep the streets clean, keep the lights on, keep us safe. We have work to do.
Yeah.
Now, when that breaks down and you kind of destroy the works of Rembrandt, you destroy the works of...
That's where the real problem
That's where the problem lies. So the thing is, if you basically keep people ignorant, they're much easier to become a mob. The way you counter that is through beauty, truth, and love. And that's why that's the necessity of original ideas.
Did
It's
it-
what
oh, I-
ties it's what ties an individual
got
to
a
their
note.
destiny. Okay.
Yeah,
Let's try. Okay. So anyway,
yeah, sorry.
so that is the piece that really kind of is the case here. And that's where I think the love piece comes together, is the connectedness of ideas, the connectedness of the things between these impressions and these explanations. These are the things that make us understand there are things greater than ourselves. And they're not imaginary people living on clouds. And again, I'm not against faith-based things or faith, I mean, if these things help you, that's fine. But when we find that there are things that kind of give us that sense of consequence, right, we can come to understand why that is the case. So anyway, last
Yes.
word by both of you.
Oh, yes. Okay. When I come across two pieces of just fascinating information, most people don't see, how should I say, something surprising in science, something that throws everything else under the bus in a really grand way, not in a squash your bones way. And that is a beautiful thing. That is a grand thing. That is a glorious thing, because instead of focusing on the horrors of the world, I focused on these two new beautiful ideas. A mud battery. They are now using electrogenic bacteria. And these are a species of Geobacter bacteria that produce electrical impulses like an electric eel. And in fact, this is a future source of power. And like a bottle of wine, and here's a great analogy, as it ages, it gets better, it gets more complex, it gets more powerful. So a 1 month old electrogenic mud battery powered by these bacteria is far better at 4 months and better at 5 months and more powerful at 6 months. And I thought about that all night. And I loved the fact that I thought about it all night, because there was some horrifying stuff on the news. The 2,500 people who were murdered in the protests in Iran, but I was able to at least focus on this. The other quick thing is the development of a new battery. You've all heard of lithium ion batteries. There's a lithium sulfur battery. Would you like to comment on that?
No, interesting. All right, so
sorry.
I want to go back to something that is very important.
Sure, yeah.
Is the fact that yes, for all the people who spent the last 2 or 5 or whatever many times talking about justice and virtue and all these kind of things, the people of Persia are being murdered, and we're sitting by idly and letting that happen, and it's not a peep, and that's disgusting, and you're cowards, and you're vile. And if you're not talking about it, you're a piece of shit. And I mean that. We cared about things that didn't care. Now, when we see people who are actually fighting a legitimate Nazi equivalent, we have nothing to say. So I'm going to say this, like it or not, fuck you. All right. So the realm of ideas is free to all, and is to the benefit of all for us to keep it that way. Thank you.
Thank you. That was an interesting ending.